Thank you so much for being here with me once again on another episode of A Legacy of Love, Un Legado de Amor. And I have a very special guest with me today. Um, Hi, Angie. How are you doing today?
I'm really good. How are you?
Great. We would love to know a little bit about you, what you do. I know you shared with me before this recording that you have a family, you have very precious kids. Could you share a little bit about yourself with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I know we're going to get into a little bit more about my journey, but yes, I'm Angie. I am the owner of the Parent Toolbox. On top of that, I am a mom to 10-year-old twins who keep me very busy and make me utilize my teachings a lot during our time together because every family and kid is so unique and different. I've also been married now for it'll be 13 years in September to my husband. And we are just trying to connect and communicate as much as we can as a family with our crazy bunch and our animals that are running around.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. And you were sharing a little bit more about your journey, your own story, how you came up with this business that you just started. Could you share how you ended up changing because you had a very different career and then all of a sudden this all changed? And I think that these changes, in my own opinion, were actually blessings. So you would actually be directed to the place that God had designed you to be. And now you're actually thriving and fulfilling these amazing calls and purpose that He has over your life. Could you share how that changed?
Absolutely. As soon as you said that, the image kind of, if there's any other business owners on or listening to this, we have that expectation of like point A to point B, and it's just going to be the smooth line. As much sometimes we think about life doing that, and then when we get started, we realize that we start out and then it goes all over the place, and then eventually we land on the other side. And I feel like that's much of what my story was because I always had those check boxes that I wanted to make sure I got to in order to have a quote unquote good life, the things that I thought would make me successful. And so as you mentioned, I did come from a different career. I originally started out in marketing, worked at a marketing company for 7 years. I was the right hand person, the sidekick, the intrapreneur, as I like to say. So I got to do kind of all the fun parts of the business and not have to worry about all of the legal stuff, payroll, kind of the stressors of it. And I honestly thought I was going to be there forever. But of course, God always has different plans sometimes. And so throughout my time and getting married and having kids, a couple years into motherhood, I finally realized that my priorities were really messed up. I was trying to build this business for someone else. There was a lot of toxicity starting to happen in it. My mental health was suffering. But I grew up with some of your listeners may have felt this way too, that I had this idea that the more I gave myself to other people, the more I did for them, the more I felt like I could add value to their life, then I would in turn be seen as valuable and then I would be loved. And so that's something that I've really had to work on, throughout my journey. But I found myself with my kids home one week when they were about 3 years old, and I was terrified because I thought, what am I going to do with these toddlers who are not going to want to sit quietly in the corner while I have to do work and want to do work? But I like to say that week completely changed my life. And I realized that there were so many other important things that I could be doing. And so it really gave me something to think about. And it was only about a month later that my husband found me on the kitchen floor having a complete meltdown. And as I shared with you off of the camera, getting to that point of just depleting ourselves. But so many times as women, we do that. We think, no, I'm just going to keep pushing. I'm just going to keep going. And then eventually we have to stop because our body gives out or our brain gives out. It comes up even if we try push it down a lot. And so I lifted it up to God that night, and the next day I went in and I quit my job, which led me on the next path of becoming an entrepreneur. I was focused on holistic health and I loved it. It gave me more time with my kids, flexibility. The next couple years were really great. My husband got a promotion. We moved into a new house. Things just seemed to be going really good until they weren't. And in January of 2020, I was told that, well, my husband came clean about infidelity, and it completely rocked my world. And there were so many days that I wanted to crawl underneath my bed or crawl into my bed and put my covers over and not want to interact with anyone. Yet I still had these two small children who needed me, and as moms we do what we have to do. And so in our journey we did decide to stay and fight for our marriage. It was a long road that's led us to where we are, but I was sharing with you too that, during this time I was out there searching and praying and hoping that I could find these stories of reconciliation, that I could find some light at the end of the tunnel. And what I was met with a lot was that you're stupid if you stay. Once a cheater, always a cheater. You should leave right away. And it made even more shame and guilt and embarrassment pile on top of each other for myself. And I knew that there were stories of reconciliation out there. It's just that that space wasn't being held for those people to share about it because of that shame and guilt so many of us feel are going to happen. And I want to make this very clear that everyone has a choice in this. If you stay, it's hard. If you leave, it's hard. Both are hard decisions and both are very individualized. Many people might not think what I did was the right decision, but for me and my family and what I felt at the time, it was. So we did the traditional stuff of, marriage therapy, individual therapy, and about a year and a half into our journey, I realized that something inside me still wasn't right. And through the encouragement of a friend, she had mentioned that there are these things called outpatient treatment programs. And so I looked into it and I did enroll in one for anxiety, depression, and PTSD. And they were very intensive. It was like 15 hours a week of therapy at the very beginning for at least the first couple months. And it was extremely scary. And I had to work through a lot of that value stuff of, telling myself, who are you to take up this space? There are other people out there who have had it so much worse. Like, how dare you spend the time and the money doing this? But I needed to remember that I did show up for this and I was getting the help that I needed to. And as I was going through the program, learning more about mental health and our emotions and how they show up, I started really gathering a lot of great tools and resources that I started applying in my everyday life. But not only were they affecting me, they were affecting my kids. And I saw my kids change on how they approached their emotions, how they dealt with them, how our communication was. It was this really cool ripple effect. And that's really what led me to what I do now. So I rebranded as the Parent Toolbox. I developed my calm approach to parenting, and now offer support and tools for parents to, again, kind of restructure their toolboxes so that their kids can also develop really healthy ones at a young age so they can continue to develop as they go through life. And as you know, sometimes our hardships bring us exactly where we need to be. I'm so passionate about what I do and so thankful. My marriage is stronger than ever, and I get to do this business supporting parents one-on-one every day that I absolutely love and wouldn't be here unless it was through all those challenges and struggles I went through.
Yes. As I'm listening to you, I know that there's going to be a lot of people out here that they're going to be listening to your message, and they might be in that kind of journey right now where they're stuck and they're dealing with a relationship, where they've been betrayed, where they feel confused, where they feel lost, where they're not really knowing what to do. And you've actually experienced it and you're on the other side. And they're wondering, oh, wow, well, it's a very different situation. I really don't know what I should do. What would you advise them? Because it's not the same me to come up and try to, like you said, you're being, sometimes people could judge or people come up and say, well, it worked out for her, but it's not going to work out for me. Or I don't know why she decided to stay. You hear all these different kind of comments, but honestly, you're the only one that truly knows what was best for you. And if he deserved another opportunity or not, and the situation, the dynamics at your home, you're the only one that really would know about this. What would you advise ladies in particular? Because as we were talking before or the recording, the need of talking about these subjects that sometimes people keep hidden still. They just don't want to talk about them.
Yeah, and that's why I love what you do on this podcast is you really again hold space for people to share their struggles and their stories because when we do that, it finally gives permission to other people to say, "Oh, I'm not alone. Someone else has went through that." And again, like I've held on to this story for a lot. There are people in my life who still don't know about this chapter, and yet I still do feel compelled to share it in certain areas because I want to let people know that I am an ally for them. I'm someone that they can, talk to, someone who's walked that path before. But the biggest thing I would say is if you're trying to navigate through infidelity, if you're trying to figure out what to do, don't rush it.
Yes.
Because what I learned through my process is that once I found out, I reverted back to what I knew from what I saw in my childhood, and that was to fix it. I didn't want to sit in the emotions because that's uncomfortable. I wanted to fix it. So I got out my checklist and thought, okay, this is exactly what we're going to do. And we're going to get marriage therapy right away. And I thought I had it all figured out. But we can push those emotions down and those feelings down as much as we can. They are still going to come up. Infidelity is a form of trauma. I mean, it shows up unexpectedly. And the best thing that we can do for ourselves as we're making that decision is not to rush it and sit in your feelings. Just sit in it, ride the wave of emotions so that you can make the best decision for you. And if you, in this case, have a family, so that you feel confident moving forward. And it's okay if you change your mind along the way too.
What would you tell ladies? Because they're wondering, well, what were not only the red flags that you saw or that he actually exposed what he was doing, but also what made you, because they're going to probably, I know that this would be a question that I would ask.
Yeah.
What made you actually give him another opportunity? What made it so special to know that this man is different compared to not having this repetitious, vicious cycle happen again, Angie, as you know, and it's not about you. It's about being very open of the subject, because this might be in their mind. Well, he might cheat on me again. I really want to give him a chance, but I'm afraid.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with being afraid. I think that it's a way of you trying to protect yourself and coping with this trauma that you just mentioned. So,
Yeah.
what would you tell them? What made you give him the opportunity? There's men that are really worth that second chance, right? And there's some other ones that you just know at your inner gut that no. And these ladies are going to say, well, how did she know that he was worth a second chance? Maybe you could actually offer your services to them as well.
Yeah, so I was giggling a little bit while you were saying that, not because any of this is funny, infidelity and that journey is not comical at all. But you hear so many people saying, "Well, how did you not know? Like you should have known, obviously." And when we go back and dissect, yes, there's these red flags that we could be like, "Oh, yeah, maybe that wasn't exactly right," or oh, maybe I should have pushed harder. But the truth is, he kissed me goodbye every morning. He said, "I love you." He went to work. He came home. He was only gone one night a week for a league with his buddies, which we were around all of the time. So I would have known if he wasn't there. And I know he was showing up there. So, when you get married, you put all of this trust in this person. And I think, this conception of, well, you're dumb if you don't know because there must have been flags. It's just not true. Like I had no reason to believe this. And there's so many cases like that. We hear, these men, for example, who have double lives and have a whole other family and the wives never know. And it's not because they're stupid. It's just because there may not have been those big red flags that everyone thinks are so apparent. I will say too, as you said, it wasn't about you. That is so important to know that good people can do bad things. And the cheating is never about you. It is about how they feel about themselves. it is also not our responsibility to keep our partner faithful. That is their choice. That is their responsibility, as it is our responsibility and choice to be faithful to them. So those are two very big learning lessons. And you know what? I don't know if I have a very concrete answer of why did I decide to stay? Why did I decide that he was worth it? Because I've gotten cheated on in past relationships, and I just truly loved him. The thought of divorce very rarely ever crossed my mind. I knew it's something I wanted to fight for. I wasn't sure if we were going to make it. If you were a fly on the wall in some of those therapy sessions, you probably didn't think we were going to make it either because they got very intense. But sometimes the best way to get through stuff is to actually go through the mud and go through the storms to get to the other side. And it's not fun. It takes time. But again, you are going to be the only one who knows if it's the right choice. And if you say, yes, we're going to stay together, and you are on this journey for a couple months and then it doesn't feel right, you have the permission to change your mind. Only you can really decide on, what you're going to do. Now, I do say if this is something that's affected your marriage, for example, like therapy, marriage therapy is a non-negotiable. Like you need some kind of third party to help you with this, because if you could do it alone, it wouldn't have happened possibly. So you need that third party to come in and help you build up that foundation again, instead of trying to do it alone by yourself, just the two of you.
Yes, most definitely. And I agree. And I think that you're the only one that really knows at the end of the day why you're staying or why you're not staying. So for these ladies that are listening today, what I'm taking in my own words is the fact that it does not matter. It doesn't have really a red flag sign or signal that, oh, this is actually how you're going to know. Like you just mentioned right now, there's people that don't even show that they're actually facing these kind of challenges, and they're keeping it pretty hidden, pretty on the low key. So it's hard to really know about those red flags at times. And also, it's up to the person that's actually facing this to decide whether they're going to stay or whether they're going to move on or whether they're going to take it slow and decide later whether it's the right fit for them to continue living with this person, if they're actually worth the second chance or worth the second try. That's what I'm taking today. And of course, where could these people find you? Where could they actually connect with you? Because I know that you offer your services. If you could you just share briefly a little bit about your services?
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is theparenttoolbox.info. And so you can go there, find out more about my coaching services, my speaking, my different tools like my Calm Family Planner that will be out soon. And if you were like, well, I don't really want the parenting support, but I would love to just kind of chat about the infidelity stuff, I'm more than happy to do that. Just contact me through my website, or you can go on social media. I'm at the Parent Toolbox.
Well, that's fantastic. And I really appreciate you being here with me today on this episode, A Legacy of Love. And it was such an honor and a privilege to have you, Angie. And I wish you the very best and hope to hear from you very soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.